the aspects and how DCB Bank can support the initiatives that we plan to do. So, as we all know, the consumer banking in India has been moving more towards digital side, and Mr. Prasanna Lohar has been the vice president, is the vice president of DCB Bank, which is one of the premier banks working at the grassroots level across India. So, what do you see the major change that is happening, especially with reference to the lower strata, the weavers community, the artisan community, and small and medium entrepreneurs in the banking sector, from the banking point of view?
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me here, organizers, for this such a great occasion. I'll depict all my thought process around how banking is happening, how SME banking primarily in India is taking shape with the government of support, and what is the responsibility of the overall banking ecosystem, how they can really help to provide a better banking. So how many of you do really visit bank branches? Right, very few, right? So how many of you visit your bank in a mobile? So most of them, right? So that's how is the story of banking which is happening in last 4 or 5 years. Traditionally, after demonetization, a lot of digital adoption happened. Everybody knows UPI story after 2016. When we launched UPI in April 2016, it took 5 to 6 more months post demonetization to create a handholding of a UPI app. And post-pandemic, what we have seen, everything is a contactless, touchless, human behavior change. Primarily, the bankers or customer who were visiting banks earlier, branches earlier, now they would like to have most of the services onto some kind of a digital apps. Starting with the account opening, servicing, and so on and so forth. So same case goes to the SMEs also. So if you look at big techs like Geos and there are many more, they are now collaborating with the banks to provide SME relevant services, onboarding SMEs, followed by all types of servicing to those SMEs. I think few initiatives which we have seen in India, like GST, which has given a path-breaking ecosystem for SMEs since last 2017 and so on. So we work closely with a lot of startups who provide SME solutions. Say example, I met one of the startup in 2016 in Chennai, and he was providing some service around how do we collect tax on his platform. And 2017, I think GST came in our life. And that's how we collaborated with that platform, and I think thousands of SMEs now utilizing this platform for what purpose? Their day-to-day inventory management. Apart from their financing, what all the inventory and what buy-sale happens, and at the end of the day, GST posting onto the centralized servers completely happens on this platform, which was not available earlier. So as a bank, we look at a complete ecosystem building, or as a banking in India, what Indian banks are looking at, if there are some SME platforms which can be helpful for a complete SME journey, end-to-end, including funding also, so that can be availed. So what is happening, Dolly ma'am, here onwards, banking, I think after 10 years, people will not visit bank branches, for sure. A lot of new technologies are coming, creating invisible banking. So wherever I go, I need banking. If I'm standing here, I want bank in the air. So that is how customer behavior is changing over a period of time. We may be not be blessed with that kind of innovations, but our millennials will drive that innovations. Tomorrow's SMEs will drive that innovations. Then a lot of schemes which are coming from the government of India. Account aggregator, which is the one of the ecosystem which is coming up from government of India, where RBI is driving with the RBI's arm called as a REBIT. The way NPCI drives UPI, account aggregator is getting driven by REBIT out there. So how account aggregator is going to help? It's a complete SME data which is available at GST and various other forums that will be utilized by these FIU and FIPs. What are these FIU and FIPs? These are information providers and information users. So GST data, banks, they are information providers, and these data proactively in a secure way will be utilized by the SMEs and all to provide better services for Indian citizens. So what UPI done for payment, for SME, lending, all these use cases will be driven on a next wave on a account aggregator. So many banks are live. So adoption will happen heavily out there in the next coming few years.
So thank you. So very, very insightful work that DCB Bank has been doing. So what is the kind of role that you see in terms of the fintechs, the new breed of entrepreneurs that have come up, which are the fintech entrepreneurs, and especially what has DCB Bank. I know you do a lot of work. I would like the others to really know in terms of how you have been seeding and driving innovation in the banking space through the Innovation Carnival, hackathons, and so on and so forth. So please share a little.
Very good question. I just narrate my story, how I started. Like in 2016, 2016 or so, 2016, I was traveling from Shirdi to Mumbai. I think many of you are from Mumbai, so they must be knowing Shirdi is a one pilgrimage place. And while coming, there was a one place called as a Bhandardara. So I thought, being a tourist travelers, let me go and see this place. So it was somewhere around 5:30 in the evening, and it was showing around 26 kilometers away from Bhandardara. So it was a hilly road, and I was carrying my car. It was showing 65 kilometers away. That much petrol I can consume in the car. So I reached a place called Bhandardara out there. People say the Bhandardara or tourist place which you are looking for, it's 4 kilometers behind. What does it mean? That I reached there because of the hilly road like 6:30 p.m. or so, and it was like a dark. It was a winter time. Then I really started looking with the help of my mobile phone where internet was not working. Right? So where do I find some hotel, or where do I find to stay back? Right? So then I inquired people, where is this Bhandardara all about? They said, I think it's a night time, you can explore in the morning, so you can stay back somewhere. So I got some hotel addresses. Then they said there is some small town where you can really have a food, or try if you can get some diesel or petrol, because I had to go back to Mumbai. Now my friends, in the whole 50 kilometers periphery in that area, there was no petrol pump. Can you imagine a place just near to Nasik, and in the 50 kilometers periphery there is no petrol pump? And I visited a place, there was a small shop, and that lady was having some kind of a feeder, kind of some petrol or diesel was available. So typically every truck or somebody tanker comes, and they fuel these small containers with the diesel or petrol, which is available for the nearby villagers. So fortunately I got 4-liter diesel out there, and I was so happy. I am so blessed in this place. Then I asked, do you have a credit card or debit card kind of a POS? She said, what is this all about? The story goes like how fintech adoption is happening in the India now. Then I said, do you use Paytm? What is this guy talking all about, right? So give me some cash. So how do I get cash? Being in digital banking, I always carried cards. So somehow I visited nearest ATM, and you know what is the condition of ATMs in the villages. Fortunately, I got some cash, 5,000 rupees cash, and I gave. So I was just thinking, what is going to happen in these villages if you don't do a lot of innovations out there? So that's the story. Somehow I got some hotel, I went back. After 1 year, I visited the place again, just for out of enthusiasm, what's really happening. And the lady was having Paytm and debit card. So that's the adoption happened within 1 year. Why? Because post demonetization, this is what has happened. So being a responsible banker, we started this program wherein one of the problem definition, how can you create a cashless villages. So where in a cashless village, everything happens on digital means. Like you can do a payments across merchant and SMEs on some devices, and at the end of the day, settlement happens. So that's a problem definition we opened up. So apart from that, a lot of problem definitions I think you were part of those innovation programs. Cyber security, how can we have a better account opening? So a lot of challenges are there in banking. So we open up that as an innovation carnival program. So we work with the fintechs. And what is this fintechs all about? Say example, as a bank, we have our IT team, which can give some output of some products, right? Some account opening or some kind of a payment app. But it takes years together for that IT team to develop. So why not to partner with a fintech company who has some products ready, which has a better experience, and they understand a customer more better. So it's like adoption of those fintechs along with the banking ecosystem, where some of the floors can be rented out to those fintechs. So that's how we look at the fintechs, and a bank can really have a better alignment, at least in Indian context, where under sustainable development goals, we need to have a better financial inclusion with SMEs. Every, like in a recent budget also, honorable finance minister announced that every Indian should have some digital way of a payment. So that's a program wherein we work closely with a lot of fintechs these days. So if some of you are a fintechs, or even if you have some kind of a fintech idea, we can fund that idea and make sure that how that idea can become tomorrow's innovation. So this is what the agenda of this program all about, where as a bank we run this program with a lot of mentors. NPCI, Microsoft, IBM are some of those corporate partners. There are other banks like World Bank, where also we work closely with them from some of those sustainable agendas like clear water and so on and so forth. So some of you are willing to be part of this program, so most welcome. We can see how we can contribute and see some kind of innovation can happen.
So thank you, Prasanna. Now, coming down to, you mentioned digital currency. So now even the RBI has proposed the CBDC, which is the central bank's digital currency. So can you share some thoughts on CBDC, especially how it can be implemented in India and what is the kind of role? And maybe explain for the benefit of the audience what CBDC means in a real sense, and especially how it can facilitate the cross-border transactions and transactions in the digital economy, especially for exports.
Yeah, I think so. I think today, if you talk about central bank digital currency, which is a legal tender for every country, just like the note which you are carrying, currency note, where it is written that I promise that I will take care of this note, right? So that is what a legal tender all about, digital central bank digital currency. I think 9 countries are live, including China, Cambodia. Smaller countries are live on. What does it mean they are live? They are customer, they are SMEs, and their transactions are started on a digital form of a currency. Today you may say, I still, same thing I do it on UPI or any of those apps. So what is the difference between all about it, right? So primarily, if you to look at the whole banking ecosystems, when you do a transaction on the left side on some of those channels, POS or e-commerce and so on, the transaction goes to multiple hops. So some of these hops, like a trusted agency called MasterCard, Visa, NPCI, then the transaction is routed to some of those acquiring servers. These are owned by banks. And the issuer server, where your example, sir is having bank account with ICICI Bank, the transaction will be routed from a merchant's HDFC Bank to the ICICI Bank through all these means and directly reaches to his account, and the money will be debited. This whole process takes in a few seconds, right? And it takes because of so much of hardware and software we have deployed so far. And actual transaction, money will be given back to your merchant next day, after a kind of a reconciliation settlement process, which is a manual process. Now imagine every bank has this manual process. And what CBDC says, I will remove all of these manual processes. Transaction happens, merchant gets money there and there itself. Maybe it's a beautiful experience for our customers on UPI, but it's a beautiful experience for tomorrow's SMEs and merchants there and there itself. They don't have to struggle around my money didn't come. They don't have to struggle around keeping that bank account or statements as a proof. So everything is seamless ecosystem in the back end also. The way we see on the front end with UPI or a QR code payments, on the back end also there will be a smart banker ecosystem. And imagine this smart banker ecosystem is available in every bank and in every country. So what does it mean? Suppose tomorrow your friends or you want to send money to your relatives or your kids out there in studying in the US, Canada, it takes so many days, right? And it takes so many days because it's a manual process. There is a trust requirement of whether this document reach or not there. So just like UPI ecosystem with the CBDC, from this country to another country, payment happens immediately. What does it mean? That every country has to work cohesively together. So that's a layman language, right? So that's a central bank digital currency all about. So India also looking at, we will be also part of this ecosystem. They are treating it as a digital rupee kind of a name, where China has yuan, Cambodia has its own fast ecosystem, Singapore has its own, and there are 2 types of CBDCs, retail, wherein you and me will communicate and do the transaction, and wholesale between banks and banks, country and country. So this is an ecosystem has to come, because this will do away with a lot of those INRs operations which we have done in so 50, 60 years. Because I think it's the way UPI was a magic moment. Today I think CBDCs tomorrow will be a magic moment for most of the people in India, not in India but outside of India. There is a lot of things around that. It's just a beginning. It will take its own time. The technology like blockchain will make it happen. I think huge things are coming. Just want to talk about 10 seconds around blockchain. Friends, what we have done for the last 25 years on internet, it does have a lot of limitations and challenges. So-called trust. You don't have a trust and provenance from where I'm ordering my food. Whether anybody has touched that food, if you are doing some kind of exports of agri or relevant textiles, people or customers would like to know from which farm this particular apparel is being created, right? How many days it was in a transit, and blockchain gives that liberty to say that, yeah, this took 7 days, 8 days, that kind of a transparency blockchain will create, which was not there in the internet today. So I think blockchain, I treat as the internet 2.0. Huge adoption will happen. It's happening in all sectors. It's a high time for everybody to learn and implement these things also. And last 10 seconds, one startup came into me in Bhopal. She was a founder, and she said these are 2 dresses. This dress cost around 700 and this is cost around 1,000 rupees. Same. But this dress was created and completely the supply chain of this dress was on blockchain. Wherein an end user will tell you, February 2021, this is a particular yarn was being utilized, and the go down this time. So complete transparency you will get to know as a customer when they will scan the barcode. Here you don't know. On Paytm or Flipkart you are buying, selling, at the end what you get we don't know. So that transparency you can bring on these kind of technologies.
Thank you. So this really was the next point that I wanted to ask to conclude. So you've already answered it. But one small thing I'd also like to know, what is the kind of export financing that is possible through DCB Bank? Especially how export financing for startups, for textile manufacturers, for traders, especially for the...
DCB Bank is a primarily SME bank. So primarily means our 1995 customers are SME, and some of you are in Bombay or in India and they want these kind of financing with a better business models. So DCB Bank does provide, so and we are doing it, and I welcome some of you are SMEs, or if you know some of those SMEs looking for this kind of a financing for exporting, so that we also feel that we are a part of your journey. Yeah.
So I think we've taken a lot of your time. Thank you so much for sparing your time and coming to address these Augusta gathering right now. Thank you so much, and we look forward to your support. And anybody who wants to reach out to Mr. Prasanna Lohar, if there is a time for a question or two.
One question, Kanika ji, you want to ask?
This is for the women entrepreneurs. What and how much funding can you all give, and what are the funding schemes that DCB Bank has? A lot of times we are mentoring and we are the designers for women craftsmen. Okay, now she cannot make her project report, things like that. So is there anything, do you have a cell which can offer them assistance, and also schemes to help the women who wants to market her craft in terms of home furnishing or for the home hotel section?
Yeah, so I think very good question. Apart from DCB Bank, the one program which we drive, where we provide kind of a funding or co-create the products with is not only women entrepreneurs, but any of the entrepreneurs come to us, we welcome and we evaluate the idea.
Yes, sir. But do you have anything special, any extra, the pluses or some concessions for women? I mean.
So I'm coming to that. So as such, DCB don't. I mean to say that we don't differentiate entrepreneurs, women and all. So, but primarily I am part of a lot of ecosystems where our attention is towards women, right? Say example, we have a forum like I'm a executive member of a India FinTech Forum. So where we have a separate cell which takes care of the women entrepreneurships. So say example, through this program and through DCB Bank Innovation Carnival, we had supported some of the women entrepreneurs. Say example, one of the lady was driving, you remember, right? So in Delhi, so she was driving some kind of innovations around the cancer, right? So that's how we support. So it's not only women or any of those entrepreneurs, but there are some, so I'll connect with you, or any of the women are looking forward, they have this kind of a product or so typically I'll share my connect with the organizers. You can always email me your project. I'll make sure personally. So the ecosystem where I'm working closely, where some of the ecosystems are supporting only women and women, right, and run by women, right? So there I can connect and see how we can really create a better things for you.
Yeah, that'll be lovely.
As well as I am associated with some of the funds. right? So startup funds and investment funds, that also I can connect and see whether your idea can get funded starting from POCs, followed by the actual MVP creations, so on. At the Maharashtra government, and there are some of the other government entities where I'm closely working with, that support also I can bring in.
So is there a number? I mean, how little and how much maximum? Is there a number to that?
So some of the things which we had done starting from 2 lakh, 3 lakhs, 15 lakhs, we do it more than 50 lakhs also, ma'am. Depends upon the use case to use case. Say example, some of the fintech use case, wherein we are creating tomorrow's unicorns, we will would like to be more equity into that kind of ecosystem.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
And something which I want to drive, there are some sustainable ecosystems which are driven by women and some of the men's also. So which is around the 70 sustainable goals. So one project we are doing is around how do you create affordable houses? Say example, affordable houses with backed up by some kind of a renewable energy, backed by some kind of IoTs and so on. So these projects we are now working. If some of you guys or girls would like to be part of those programs, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, may I invite you here? We would like to honor you with a small token of appreciation. Dr. Nigam ji, aaiye please. You come. Sonia ji, aaiye. And I'd also like to invite Yash ji to be part for his knowledge on funding. Kanika ji, you wanted it in crores because he spoke of lakhs. That's okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.